This is big.
Are you worried?
Are you worried? Because they've been closer to your rivals than our
deflecting
rivals
onto me.
in the last couple of
Well,
seasons.
Chelsea made it into the Champions League. They're a rival now as well. I am worried. Viktor Gyökeres scores big goals. He scores goals at an international level. He scores goals in the Champions League. And Arsenal haven't really signed a number 9. We're talking in 7-8 years since Aubameyang. Linking up with Saka, Odegaard. I think he was more of a general forward to fill the squad. A bit like Kai Havertz wasn't a number 9 really when he was signed. Aubameyang's the last real proven Champions League level striker they've signed. That's 8 years ago now.
And Arsenal, it looks like they've got their man. They've got the deal over the line. And you've got to give them an element of credit because at various points, it didn't look like it was going to go their way. I mean, I remember very recently thinking that he was going to be a Manchester United player.
Well, it did seem like this was their second choice to Benjamin Sesko, didn't it? Because it felt like, unless they used Sesko as a smokescreen almost to kind of help them get the Gyökeres deal done, it did feel like they had attentions on Benjamin Sesko. Gyökeres, like you say, was linked to Man United, and I've been one of those people that have been saying, I don't want United to kind of touch the deal because I look at some of his goals in Portugal and I think, is that going to happen here? But then also on the flip side, Man United are a team that need A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We need everything to fix our team. Whereas Arsenal are a team that are very much, in a groove. They're playing well. They know what they need, and they need a striker. So if he can be the guy that converts some of those chances for him, he could be the perfect signing for them. But I've got to say that there are those little doubts that I have about him actually.
What are they?
It's just more of a gut feeling than anything. But when I watch some of his goals, and I watched like 50 Gyökeres goals last season or something like that, and he scored 50 goals, which is incredible. But you watch them and you just think, how's the keeper like that? How's the defense like? Will he get those chances in the Premier League? I don't know. But then he is a guy that lives in the 6-yard box and is great in the 12-yard box, and that's exactly what Arsenal have been lacking. So he could be perfect.
But that's where you look at his Champions League goals, because you're spot on. The Portuguese league is not a top 5 league, arguably, or maybe fifth or sixth. But in the Champions League, scored a hat-trick against Man City, scored an unbelievable goal counter-attacking. And there are some fair criticisms from rival fans, like you said, Adam, about his ability to score goals when maybe he's got less space in terms of, is he going to be able to run 40 yards down the pitch every single game, particularly when he's facing low blocks. Then you think Mateta does it in the Premier League. I mean, there's a lot of strike. Haaland gets a lot of space still, and sometimes we criticise his ability to link up play. So I think there's a lot of space for Gyökeres to operate in the Premier League, despite it being a tougher division. I think there's a lot of space for Gyökeres.
And also, if he scored 50 goals last season, let's say he gets only 50% of that. That's 25 goals. You're a success. Do you know what I mean? Even if you only bring 50% of your goals.
Yeah, if
he could score 30 Premier League goals next season. No question. He could score 30 Premier League goals.
I met all comps, but...
Yeah, but I think he could score 30 in the Premier League. He could.
That sounds mighty.
Isn't Erling Haaland the only one to have hit 30 in recent years? Or has Salah done it as well?
Yeah, Salah's done it. Haaland scored 52 in his first season, so I'm not saying he's Erling Haaland.
In the Prem.
But if he focuses in the Prem, he stays fit. Saka's distribution, Odegaard maybe has a fresh breath of life. Declan Rice, Zubimendi having more possession, more control on the Arsenal side. He could definitely get towards the high 20s and 30s.
Do you think this signing works? So you're saying that there's a chance he'll score 30 Premier League goals. Do you also think there's a chance that he'll score 8 Premier League goals, or do you just think this is a success?
I'm more on the positive side. I think Sesko, for me, I didn't get the Sesko signing. I thought he was a little bit more gangly, obviously a big, powerful striker with a decent record similar to Gyökeres. But for me, Gyökeres is more of an instinctive poacher in the box. And I think he's just going to latch on to all those balls that Saka was looping into the box. And he had Jesus, Moreno was... I mean, Arteta got, 8 or 9 goals out of Moreno last season. So if Gyökeres stays fit and he adapts to the Premier League, he's in his prime years, by the way. A lot of people on Twitter criticising the deal.
No, that's
he's not 21 years old. It's like,
no.
He's in his prime
years. I saw an Arsenal fan actually who was fairly angry, and this was his rationale. He was angry that they'd gone for Gyökeres over Sesko because Gyökeres is older, 4 or 5 years older, and therefore has less sell-on value. I was like, you mental? Like, this is exactly the kind of player that you
Ian
should
Wright
be
sell on value. He joined me, I think he was 29, 30 when he joined.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need these players
went on
just
to become the club's top
Van Persie, what was his sell on value?
Scored about
he was 30 at Man United.
Season.
Yeah.
I thought Buvey made a great point in terms of Odegaard and what it could do for him, because obviously last season Odegaard got loads of criticism. I was about to say abuse. Maybe it wasn't abuse. He got a lot of criticism last season, and maybe rightly so. There were times where he could have done better. but I didn't think he was helped by the fact that they didn't have an out-and-out striker. They didn't have, they kind of played Mikel Moreno as a target man, which kind of suits Saka and his whip balls into the box. But nothing suited Martin Odegaard. Now, if this guy can, pin defenders and make those runs in between the lines, Odegaard could come alive again.
There's also a chance, though, that if the rest of their transfer activity happens as is suggesting it will, Martin Odegaard may have his place in jeopardy. If Eze goes to Arsenal, I think that would be a needle move. I think that'd be such a good signing. And there's a chance that Eberechi Eze would play wide and could put Gabriel Martinelli's place in jeopardy. But there's also a chance that Martinelli would keep his place in the team, and Eberechi Eze could force Martin Odegaard to either elevate his level or bounce.
He needs to. I think he's a
Eze
better
and
player than Odegaard.
Madueke transfers that are completely separate from and non-dependent on the Gyökeres one. Like, will they still likely happen?
Yes, they're completely. Yeah, absolutely. They're not. It's not one or the other with those two signings. Absolutely.
Okay. So you got Madueke who potentially go in. You've got Eze who's potentially going. You got Zubimendi who's just come, and you've got Gyökeres who could be on his way. Let's go from midfield forward. What does their midfield and forward line look like next season?
Well, it's going to be Zubimendi. I think in a normal kind of standard game at home at the Emirates, it's going to be Rice and Odegaard. And then you play Eze on the left for me at the moment. And for me, Odegaard's still at a very, very good level with Gyökeres down the middle and then Saka on the right. That's an outstanding six. And they got Saliba behind them with Gabriel and Timber and Skelly. It's looking scary.
Can I ask you a question?
Is Madueke the guy?
He doesn't start for me if you get Eze and everyone else. But Madueke suddenly in a League Cup game, quarter-final, and a Champions League group stage game. Exciting.
Okay,
but then we've said that before with Arteta, and he's always stuck with the same 11 almost, even in games where we go, surely he's not going to play Saka today, or he's not going to play Saka 90 minutes, and he does.
Let's play the game then, if the squad is as good as you're saying it is. And I think you're probably right. Do you think that the manager can win? Do you think that the manager, regardless of how good the squad is, you need an elite level manager to win a league? You can't just be a collection of good footballers. There are countless examples of collections of brilliant footballers who don't win the league. In fact, there are countless examples of the best collection of footballers in the country at the time not winning the league. Do you think Mikel Arteta, with this collection of players that you've just said is exceptional, can he win the league?
I think he can. I think he can with Gyökeres. That's the caveat, and obviously that's going to be close to be done. Every big club and their big manager has signed a big number 9. Mancini signed Aguero in his second season. Didier Drogba came in early. You're talking, how many did Ferguson have? Every year he brought in a top quality striker. Yeah. Where's Arteta's number 9? Where?
Even Haaland. His fault.
You could blame him for that.
He chose to spend the money elsewhere.
And the new guys come in at Arsenal and he's bringing in a bit more drive, ambition in the transfer market. Now if they struggle next season, then Arteta's under huge pressure with Gyökeres.
I don't see Arsenal as title winners this year. Like I've been saying
I kind of agree with you, but that's partly because of how I view Gyökeres. But like we said, if Gyökeres does bring 50 to 60% of his goals that he scored for Sporting Lisbon to Arsenal, and Zubimendi settles as well, you could be looking at a team that could challenge for the league title, whether they win it or not.
It's a 3-horse race, I think. I think City will be fantastic. Haaland guarantees you goals. Rodri and Reinders in midfield. It's outstanding. It is. I think it'll be a 3-way massive title race.
You were really sorry to kind of move on to City here. I know we're talking about Arsenal. We'll go back to it because you were being really positive about City about 10 days ago. Then you got knocked out.
Al Hilal.
It's the Audi Cup.
Al Hilal. It weren't the Audi Cup when you were going to win it.
What happened there, bro?
They lost 4-3.
You're not even invited because you've got 0 coefficient.
Yeah,
you're not even invited. When you lose to Spurs, you're not invited to the Club World Cup. You know that. When you lose to Spurs in a big final, you lost to Spurs.
But did you
you're
see
not
what
invited
Al
to the Club
Hilal
World Cup.
did you?
You're not invited to the Club World Cup.
Did you see what Al Hilal did to you?
Yeah,
so what?
It must have
They got
taken the
invited to
confidence.
How many goals
Even they
did
got
they
invited
score?
to the Club World Cup,
How
but you
many
didn't get
goals did
invited.
they score, Al Hilal?
You need to get into the top
It was
half.
goals. Mate, their fans are singing who put the ball in the City net. That's what their fans are singing.
Fucking
Man United needs to come top 10. Come top 10 first. How about that? Come top half.
No, it is true though. You know when you're
It's round.
Just that guy on Twitter that rattled me with his glasses falling off his head. Did you see that? The guy that was doing that with his neck, the Al Halal fan.
No, what happened?
Oh, they scored and he was strangling himself, saying, it's just, oh, mate. People at home know. It was embarrassing, man.
Do what he did.
Do what he did. Show us.
Al Hilal scored.
Lads, Man United aren't even invited to the party. Oh, we don't need to Google it.
I'm Googling it. I'm watch it.
That would rattle your head, innit? That would rattle your head.
Neek.
It would rattle you so bad. Oh, my God.
Oh, we don't need to see it, Alpha. What about the script? Where's the script? Arsenal weren't invited. Yeah,
That
Cup
was
Winners'
your-
Cup, yeah, about 50 years ago.
I really didn't want you to win that, you know.
Oh, it would have been great.
I know it sounds small
It would have
time,
been
but I don't
great.
want anyone to
The
win
money's
at all.
fantastic. So you don't think Arsenal have got an unreal side if Gyökeres, Eze, and Madueke all go in there? You don't think it's,
He's not
it's
said that,
outstanding?
but he said he don't think they'll win the league.
Also, I don't think Madueke, if Madueke is being signed for what some are suggesting he's going to be signed for, which is just cover, then I think it's a good signing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if he's not signed for that,
No.
if he's signed to replace Martinelli on the other wing or something like that, which isn't his
And Eze
preferred
comes in, then I think it's good.
Or Eze,
it's a
but-
caveat.
but
It has
what
to
about
be
if
him
Eze
and
doesn't come in? Because
Yeah,
I
then
think
it's
Madueke
bad.
Madueke could be good. But you know when you're talking about ceilings and whatever, that's not where Arsenal
I'm
are
not a huge
now.
fan of him. I'm not a huge fan. But what I'm saying is, it's a I think gamble on Madueke versus Martinelli
Arsenal-
feels a little
Arsenal
bit
should
stale.
Chelsea
be
have
gambling.
Madueke as a squad option at the moment, and we couldn't care less.
No,
You know
but
what I mean?
the thing is,
At
least he's young.
the-
He's young.
Chelsea
I
are
feel
class,
like-
they got Madueke.
I feel like Madueke could become a really good player. I think the talent's there, and maybe in the next 5 years he'll develop and become one of the better players in the league and a guaranteed starter. But I don't understand why Arsenal are taking that punt. Arsenal are in a position now where they're like a coiled spring, ready to launch themselves to win the league, and they're going to sign a player that might or might not become really good in the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's a weird signing.
You know what I think you see a lot of people doing at the moment is, you know, players that they scouted like 2-3 years ago and they have really good files on and they really like them and maybe they were interested in them. When they fail somewhere like Chelsea or like Manchester United, well, less so Manchester United because no one's buying our players, but at Chelsea where the pressure's high and everything's high and it's probably like an anomaly, they go,
Still
I'll take
something
a
there.
chance there because we can get him cheaper than he ever was.
It's like
now.
Graham Potter.
But
Like
there's 50 mil. I can't believe you're
Who's
right.
good-
You're
what,
right.
They're getting 50 mil
Up
for him.
to the point where it's 50 mil. You're right.
Off
You're spot
Arsenal.
on. If it's
No, I'll
17
take
mil,
that back.
yeah, exactly. If it's 17 mil, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
50 mil's a big gamble.
Hey, you must love them.
Yeah, I mean,
They take all your duds, man.
do you know what my issue with it is? I feel like on a point of principle, you shouldn't do business with them. Like if Arteta thinks that it will improve their chance of winning the league, we shouldn't be giving them.
If you know better.
Yeah,
If you know better.
I'm not
watched
sure
him for
Maresca
18
does know
months.
better.
Yeah.